Hello and welcome to Hooded Kobold. In this series, Should You Run It, I'll be digging into the 5th edition D&D books. The purpose here is to give a brief overview for each of these books, and then whether I recommend you as a GM should run it or not. Waterdeep Dragon Heist is an adventure that takes place in, Waterdeep. This metropolis is one of the few major cities that borders along the Sword Coast in Faerun. It is a thriving metropolis with plenty of interesting and sometimes dangerous characters. There are people everywhere, and from all walks of life. There are traders, nobles, cut-purses, and lawmen. The law is actually one part where Waterdeep really sets itself apart from other large cities. The City Watch is unlike any other town guard. They are numerous, well-trained, well-armed, and don't hold back. So what's our story? It's cool and all that Waterdeep is flavorful, but we paid for an adventure, and we want one. Well, our heroes start out in the famous Yawning Portal. This tavern is run by Durnan, an ex-adventurer who made it rich, and then opened a tavern essentially hanging up his adventuring days. The first confrontation happens here, in the tavern, and is between a half-orc and a couple of humans. What starts out as a turf war between two rival gangs, the Zentarum and Xanathar's guild, is just the tip of the iceberg in this story. The story slowly unfolds, showing the plot where the big bad is trying to find the mysterious hoard of gold worth $500,000. It's supposedly hidden somewhere in Waterdeep. A really interesting part of the book is that the motives and methods for completing this task depends on which big bad is selected. Also, during this unraveling, the players will meet a lot of different NPCs and have plenty of opportunities to gain allies or to join different factions. Now finally to the stars of our show, the villains, besides the heroes of course. There are 4 to choose from, and they all play very differently and have their own different motives and methods for achieving the goals that they want. First up we have Xanathar. He's a kingpin-style beholder who is not always of a solid mind. He has bouts of mania and paranoia that make him dangerous and unpredictable. He has 3 main goals. 1. Remove the stain that is the Zentarum from Waterdeep. 2. Find the cache of gold. And 3. Become more powerful and take over Waterdeep. He has many strengths. First of all, he's just outright powerful himself. Being a beholder and all. He also has a massive crew under his belt, a network of spies, and even a formidable stronghold that's just underneath Waterdeep. He is not without weaknesses though. The largest is that he is very terrified of the current Open Lord, Laeral Silverhand. By choosing Xanathar, the book set the season to spring. The seasons don't bring a whole lot of changes, but they do bring minor ones. And in the book, spring in Waterdeep is described as cold, wet, and foggy, giving some mechanical and flavorful changes to Waterdeep. Our next villain is not a single big bad, but 2. The deadly duo that is the Castellanters, Amila and Victoro, are 2 nobles that have a tragic story that only gets more tragic. Their family was beset by hard times. When their financial ruin was imminent, they turned to devils. They rented out their children's souls for a financial safety net, and then some. Now they need a large sum of gold to pay back to the devils to save their family. And again, they will do anything to achieve this goal. The Castellanters are also decent spellcasters, who will use their political clout to thwart and misdirect the heroes. Selecting the Castellanters will start you in summer. Summer in Waterdeep is usually quite pleasant, but sometimes the southern and northern airs get trapped in Waterdeep, causing heat waves. Our third villain, and probably most famous, is Jarlaxle Bane Ray. He has secretly infiltrated the city under the guise of a traveling caravel called the Sea Maiden's Fair. His main goal is to find the gold to buy his way into the Lord's Alliance, a large faction that's spread between a couple major cities. Jarlaxle, a weird one because he's the only one who isn't outright evil. This shouldn't be mistaken for kindness or weakness though. Jarlaxle has no trouble killing anyone to achieve his goal. He does prefer to use subterfuge and trickery though, and even gloating when he beats his opponents. With Jarlaxle, the players will be playing in autumn. Autumn is cold as wind patterns change to blow the icy ocean waters into the harbor and then into the city. Our last villain is Manchun, one of the founders of Zentarum. This Manchun is actually a clone, and not the original though. Manchun is plotting to take over Waterdeep, and if he acquires the gold, he will be able to buy his way in. He also wants to take back the Zentarum faction that is in Waterdeep, also known as the Black Network. Manchun is currently hiding in Waterdeep, but His power slowly grows, but finding the cache is the only thing separating him from becoming the new Open Lord. Selecting Manchun will set the season to winter. Winters are extremely harsh in Waterdeep. The exterior gates are even closed, stopping all trading from the outside, and only the very wealthy or desperate go outside. So the big question, do I recommend this? The short answer is yes. I love how the big city feels endless. From the very beginning, the characters are giving a bunch of flexibility to explore the massive city and take all it has to offer. I also really like how the players are given a property early on, and this nails their investment into the city, and it also unlocks a lot of play that can be dedicated just to this aspect of the adventure. My players had a blast designing their business and trying to thwart out other competitors. And for the GMs, this book is well written and really guides you without kind of doing the work for you. It's not without faults though. After the players finish the second chapter and are given their own place, the obvious next steps are kind of become blurry. My players definitely ran into some AP or some analysis paralysis, just having their new home base, but really no hooks to pull them in any obvious direction. I know this part is supposed to be very sandboxy, but if your players aren't the take the wheel type, you might need to do a little bit of nudging. Overall, I think the story is a good one, and I recommend it to anyone who likes noirs, or a lot of RP, or even inventive players that want to try out new things. As the standard, I chuck a fireball will not work in this setting. Until next time, hit that like button, share, and subscribe. Thank you.